The thing about it is, Dragon Ball GT was never that great of a show to begin with. It was just that Dragon Ball Super was so bad that it made GT look good. That's why so many people look back fondly on GT all of a sudden nowadays. It's because Dragon Ball Super lowered the bar so much for the standard of quality for Dragon Ball that it ended up making a subpar show like Dragon Ball GT actually look decent. Allow me to explain. So, Dragon Ball Super added a bunch of really dumb retcons and a lot of stupid things that didn't need to be there, that just made the show worse. Not to mention, the quality of the art for most of Dragon Ball Super was absolutely terrible. One major retcon in Dragon Ball Super that severely lowered the bar of quality in Dragon Ball was how they retconned the Saiyans and Goku's parents. They made Goku's parents out to be like they were really good people, and they made the Saiyans less barbaric and less savage and maniacal. And because of that, it really takes away from Goku's character. Because Goku's character, one of the main things that makes Goku special, that really draws a lot of people to Goku, is that he was a person who came from a race of savage, evil, barbaric, uncaring people. And then he ended up being a really good, pure-hearted, innocent person, and ended up being even being the savior of Earth. For a lot of people, that is one of the things that makes Goku really special, that makes Goku stand out. And if they make the Saiyans more peaceful and less barbaric and more genuinely good like this, it takes away from Goku's character, makes him less interesting. Dragon Ball GT never made any retcons that were this severely bad. Another really atrocious retcon that was done in Dragon Ball Super was how they made Bardock use the Dragon Balls to wish for his sons to thrive. And in my opinion, all that does is just take away from a lot of the tension that was in Goku's life. Because if he wished for Goku to thrive, then a lot of the times that Goku got lucky in his life, and a lot of the times that Goku succeeded against various challenges and villains in his life, could have just been because that wish helped him to reach that far. Which, yet again, takes away from Goku as a character. Dragon Ball GT never made any retcons that was so bad that they took away from what made the characters great in the first place. Dragon Ball Super also added a lot of ridiculous things that didn't need to be there. Take the Xenos for example. The Xenos must be some of the worst additions to Dragon Ball as a whole. The Xenos, just as characters, were such dumb additions that them just being there already makes the show way worse. If the Xenos weren't shown to begin with in the first place, the show would be a lot better, many times better already. Why I find the Xenos to be so terrible is because they're supposed to be the gods of all the universes, the gods of everything, right? So you would think that the one above all would be smarter, more competent, but instead they just act like children. And you would think the one above all would be omnipotent, be in multiple timelines and universes, and would be the same way across all of them, right? But there's actually multiple versions of them across different timelines. So it just takes away from the character having it like that too. Honestly, the Xenos are just really annoying and don't I feel like they don't need to be there at all. Which is another reason why Dragon Ball GT is better, because the Dragon Ball GT never added a character that was so dumb as to be as dumb as the Xenos. The Xenos not being in Dragon Ball GT, or any character like the Xenos not being in Dragon Ball GT, already makes GT better. And in Dragon Ball Super, they kept having it where characters would get new transformations and power ups, and they would barely have to do any training or anything to get it. Like, they would just get it really soon uh, after barely doing anything. I take the Universe 6 Saiyans for example. We're able to go Super Saiyan just from learning about some tingly back feeling. And another example is Trunks getting Super Saiyan Rage when he barely even trained with Vegeta at all. Not even mentioning how Frieza got his golden form and he barely even trained. Like, all these characters getting all these power-ups with no build up to it at all. And a lot of the times it doesn't feel earned. Dragon Ball GT, on the other hand, was able to uh, keep the amount of transformations to a minimum and still make the transformations look cool anyway. Not to mention, the art in Dragon Ball Super was incomparable to the way it looked in Dragon Ball GT. Overall, I have to say Dragon Ball GT looks like a masterpiece in comparison to Dragon Ball Super, for a multitude of reasons.